We deal with what's called the circular economy. So everything comes under that idea of using everything locally. So go, and I'm just going to run through this. Yeah, this is an example of the CNC that we built. Go ahead. This is an example of Adavan. Where's Adavan? So stand up, Adavan. I think for Tvasta, they'll be interested in talking to you because he built this machine and he did all the ceramics work. Do you have an example of your? Yeah, these are his ceramic pieces that he 3D printed. Yeah, and he did it on his 3D printed computer. How long ago was that?
So usually all the parts, obviously the printer is almost printed with the other 3D printer. It's like a the 3D printer, all the parts and build this printer. And so it works with the extrusion system. Also with first I tried with the compressor, then I used this motor to push the clay to the tube, and it came out with the printed small parts.
Because when we visited Tvasta, you were showing us the ceramic printer. Yeah, and you had bubble issues. Yeah, he solved it already. So you you can talk together. Anyway, this is the open source movement. Yeah, it's like everybody trying to solve problems and then being able to share, some of those solutions that we accomplish. And we go back. And he 3D printed the guitar. Yeah. Does it play well?
Yeah,
is it still tuned?
Ukulele.
Ukulele. Yeah. Smaller guitar. Okay. And we built a grinder. We built small extruders. This is for plastics. My background is engineering in general. I'm actually an electrical engineer, but most of my work is hydropower. I design and build hydropower turbines in my home country, and rural development work with UNDP and other organizations. So my background is manufacturing, basically. In college, I started as an electrical engineer, but then I switched to computer-aided design and manufacturing. I like robots. But back then, robots were too expensive, so that was shelved for a while. And then with the open source movement, then it came back. So anyway, with volunteers, we cleaned the beaches within Auroville bioregion, let's say. And what we started doing even in the lockdown is cleaning the beaches and then recycling the plastic. Yeah. And here are examples of the 3D printed parts, and you've already seen the blocks. So actually, Venkat was involved in that. Yeah. And basically, it's youth. Everything you saw is made by youth, by young engineers. Yeah, that are interested in getting dirty and building. Yeah, and learning in the process. Yeah, and of course the last printer that you saw. This is the team that built it. Yeah, this is a couple months back. Yeah, and essentially those are the general design considerations that we went through. And the idea is, I don't know if you noticed, there was a pump, a positive displacement pump right next door. So the idea will be to set that up for both printers. The big printer that you saw, that's a Delta printer. I would not suggest building a Delta printer. It's too unwieldy and big. Yeah, there's other designs, but that was the first one we started with. Yeah, I've seen you have a big Cartesian printer, like a 2-story Cartesian printer. Yeah, that's interesting for building housing. Yeah, a Delta printer is great for precision. It's our test lab. I would say more for formulations, for testing geometries, etc. But in reality, for building houses, it's more Cartesian or polar printers or SCADA printers are more interesting. Yeah. And as we said before, we use fiber as reinforcement for the materials. Go to the next one. So you could say in summary, what are the advantages in Auroville? We do have extensive experience in sustainable architectural design. Auroville is well known for its innovation in that sense. Yeah, And because we started as a planned city, you know, this has been, there's a master plan, and the idea is building a city here in Auroville, yeah? And of course, we require low-cost housing. We require cost-effective methods of construction, you know? And of course, Earth Institute has developed these compressed earth blocks, which are locally made, yeah? And others have done other types of reinforced cement shell-type structures, which are actually still being made in the back here at the CSR, and a bunch of other technologies, yeah? There's even, I think 30 years back, they even made houses and cooked them. They made it, it was green blocks and then fired it up, yeah, and they still exist. Some of these houses still exist with their accompanying challenges of cracking and stuff like that. So there is a history of innovation and experimentation in Auroville. And the master plan needs to be developed. The master plan needs to, and that means a lot of housing, a lot of construction needs to be done. So those are kind of like, this is a concentrated area, very defined, which needs to be developed fully and quickly, let's say. And Minvayu as a project, we've been working on the 3D printing of mud for, let's say, around 5 years, or at least building equipment and testing it. And we are collaborating with global universities. Yeah, we actually, more collaboration is outside of India than inside of India, but we would like to change that, yeah, of course. But we, of course, work with local students. Whoever wants to come and help is welcome to come and help. We are a member of the Fab Lab and Fab City movements. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with these movements, but these are global movements to promote not only open source technologies, but sustainable cities. And the term sustainable city is very, very in sync with the goals of Auroville. Yeah, and of course, there's a whole issue with becoming a sustainable city, which hopefully we can start at some point here in Auroville, but we are a member as we receive the correspondence and we're linked to that program. The big cities are part of the program, you know, Paris, I think London, as well as the province of Kerala is part of that program. So it's not a Fab City, but a Fab State. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's very flexible. And now there's a Fab Island also, in Indonesia. What is it? This famous tourist spot, Bali, which is Hindu, by the way. Huh? So, which is also interesting. Okay, so I think you have good know-how, we have a creative approach, and we learn by doing. I mean, we're basically hands-on. You can see that all our investment at the workshop is in machines, not so much infrastructure, yeah, because that's where we rather put our resources. Eventually the roofs will be built, yeah. It's a work in progress, yeah. Next one. And I think this is basically, in my viewpoint, the key areas that we could collaborate with IIT Madras initially. Of course, research opportunities. One of the key areas that needs to be worked on here is the formulation using the Matrimandir earth. Yeah, that's the basically the overall characteristics of the earth that we have here. In addition, we're looking at reinforcing using recycled materials, recycled plastic, in fact. And this is something we'd like to work on actually quite soon. Of course, the continued development of lime-based structures, which are a slightly different challenge than cement, of course. So the optimization of 3D printing formulation for G and G+1 housing. Yeah, this is, the way I see it is most of the time you start with G housing, with ground level housing, just to get the hang of it, and then you go for G+1 or G+ whatever, yeah? But within that, we would like to try to use natural reinforcing materials try to minimize steel use, or even replace what would typically be a steel use with maybe some alternative forms of reinforcement. We have seen studies in Europe mostly where they're using a rope encapsulated in plastic as an alternative to to steel. You know, a couple studies of that sort. So that sounded interesting. It would be something that would be interesting to pursue. But you know, that's kind of down further. There are more priorities before that, yeah. And basically, also what you saw now is this is proof of concept. You know, we will test it out, and next year we would like to fine tune it. Yeah, there's already many things that we know we need to change to make it into, I would say, a more universal printer, which can be used anywhere. Yeah, and I call that version 2. We're not even in version 1 yet. We're in version 0.5. Yeah, so, but we require collaborations with different entities. And we invite IIT Madras to encourage all their students to come here, to get bitten by mosquitoes a little bit also. But, and of course, how can we work on the civil design? We have some civil engineering expertise in Auroville, but this requires a different type of expertise, for sure, because it's quite innovative. That also goes along with Tvasta. You know, you guys have also been building, so this we definitely lack, is that type of background experience. And we want to say we're a location where research students can also come and work, or even research from Tvasta to be able to come and work together. Yeah. And the next page is with Tvasta. 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 You know, the dream is Auroville should be a center of innovation for 3D printing of housing. You know, I can foresee that because it's part of our need, goes linked with the development of the technology, and I think we could work very well with that. And I don't, you know, Auroville is big. The demands for Auroville construction are quite large. So I think there's really space for many different approaches to the technology. So, you know, you guys have been how long 3D printing?
About, 2018 we started construction, but 2016 we started the company.
Right. So you know, you have already under your belt, you know, 6 years, 6+ years of. And I remember visiting you guys when you had like the little 3D printer, yeah, which was really, you know, and I was starting to build our Delta printer, you know. So yeah, things are happening in a similar timeline. Of course, you guys are, you know, flying high. But the other issue is, yeah, the more players in the field, the stronger the lobbying can be, you know. This is also important. So it would be great to organize a conference, you know, and we would love to be involved. I would say we would love to bring everybody here, but of course Chennai is for you guys more easy. But you know, if we could build some structures, 3D printed structures in a concentrated area like Auroville, then it becomes quite interesting to be able to showcase. You know, this company is doing this. There's you know, different techniques. I think that would be a very interesting prospect, not only for Auroville, but also for the companies and organizations involved, you know, to create an ecosystem. Yeah? And I would say Auroville has good visibility. It's a place of innovation. So yeah, let's say our arms are open to welcome you, yeah, and to collaborate.